Let's go back. October 31st, 2016. Here I was, going through middle school, which came with a lot of baggage. First relationships, puberty, and, oh yeah, clowns. For whatever reason, that year carried my small fear of clowns into a pretty solid phobia. Coulrophobia, a word that I couldn't have pronounced at the time, is what they call that. Anyways, it's Halloween, right? I'm dressed as a hipster, which would be considered a millennial costume now. I go out with a big old bag, aiming to get through as many houses as possible, but more so to just be around these older girls I was with. We're talking like 7th graders here, and I'm only in 6th, so this is a big deal. As it got later, a lot of porch lights were starting to turn off. There were only a few houses left still giving out candy. We did our best to still get our haul, and as we walked into a cul-de-sac that had one porch light on, it immediately flickered off. Frustrated, we accepted that maybe that was it. There were no more awake houses in sight. We turned around to exit the cul-de-sac, and there it was, standing dead still in the middle of the road, only slightly illuminated by a street lamp. A clown holding something behind his back. Let's stop here. This seems like a good time to remind you that this is 2016, almost a full year before it released. I assume most of you remember a clown craze around this time, but many of you might attribute it to the movie's release, although it simply could not have been that in 2016. Marketing for it reportedly didn't start until a few months before its 2017 release. So what was the reason for all these clowns? Was my Halloween experience a weird coincidence? Or was it the beginning of the greatest marketing scheme of all time? Planting the idea of killer clowns in our heads long before the Killer Clown movie would release, impacting culture on a whole nother level. I don't really know, to be honest, and I wrote the script before researching this, so let's get Googling.
3 hours later.
Clown paranoia has been a thing for a very long time. Some sources date it back to a Charles Dickens story, and then obviously it was fueled by John Wayne Gacy. But we're not going to get lost in the history here. I want to talk about the movie itself, and we're still in 2016 right now. The first major clown story comes in August of that year. The Green Bay Gazette reported a clown creeping around its cheese-filled streets. Reports talk about this entity luring children into the woods, never to be seen again. Although these reports were debunked, it revealed an interesting connection to the film industry. Gags, which was the name of the Green Bay Clown, was disclosed to be a viral marketing campaign for a short film of the same name. I did everything I could to link it or its creators to it. God, that's getting confusing. But I cannot find such connections outside of the clown stuff. In fact, the studio who made this version of it, New Line Cinema, claimed they were not involved in this clown-related guerrilla campaign. After this Wisconsin incident, numerous sightings started popping up. The New York Times made articles about clowns in different US states, and according to the Times, multiple arrests were made. At this point, clown encounters were popping up all over the world. Sightings in London, Scotland, Fiji, and more. What was happening on this planet was too perfect for the people gearing up for its marketing campaign. The only reason we can concretely attribute this craze to is obviously that Pennywise himself was starting his year of fear consumption. People were actually saying that before the movie came out. But no, okay, it was probably just a whole lot of luck. But come on, how crazy is that? Viral killer clowns showing up just before Pennywise hits the screen? It wasn't just small town incidents. The world reacted to these sightings too. Things like clown masks being banned for Halloween in schools, or even businesses changing their approach to clowns. You had circus sales being affected, and even Ronald McDonald keeping a lower profile by the time October rolled around. This was a worldwide fear, growing at an unimaginable rate. And there I was, 2 7th graders behind me, staring at this clown in the middle of a dim-lit street. Now, it's Halloween, though, right? So I had a pretty normal reaction at first. I'd seen a few clowns already. There's no reason to be scared. I'm also in a super nice neighborhood. I mean, the worst crimes that go on here are just racist comments on the Nextdoor app. I was chilling and simply started walking to the sidewalk to get past this freak that was about 30 yards out. As we stepped closer to the side of the road, the clown shuffled his feet, still holding something behind his back. The more we drifted to the sidewalk, the more the clown would shuffle, always making a point to keep his body turned towards us. It was at this moment that the fear started to set in. We sped up, getting slightly closer but more angled towards the side. As we did this, the shuffling sped up. We could now see clearly that this clown had a bloody-looking mask, and that he should really be an offensive lineman. The shuffling was impressive. Nonetheless, we pressed on towards the sidewalk until we were close enough to hear a muffled laugh. Coming out of this thing's mouth was, I can try and do it. It was more of like a, like a really high-pitched, I can't do it justice. It was too scary, terrifying. At this point, I was shitting my pants. I ended up quickly pulling the girl straight towards the other side of the road, but this time at a much faster pace, trying to juke this motherfucker out. The clown had to deepen his angle, but kept with us, continuing to block our way. Now, I can't get too lost in the story. I actually want to get to when this movie came out. It ended up being a well-placed movie within the cultural zeitgeist. September 2017, not long after peak clown paranoia, was when the movie was scheduled to come out. The clown sightings continued on past 2016. It started happening frequently again as the months in 2017 crawled on. This is where its marketing actually did some guerrilla campaigning, possibly making this decision because of all the sightings, although we'll never know. The team placed red balloons on drains across the world. On the ground in front of the drains was the tagline, "It is closer than you think." This was the only verifiable work they did outside of common marketing techniques. Although, there are some reasons why they would not want to be attached to what I'm coining the Great Clown Scare of 2016. We'll talk about that in a second, but now let's actually get into the movie itself. For a movie to take over pop culture, it has to be a good film. Okay, I don't know if that's exactly true, but it sure was. First, there is the iconic Pennywise, played by Bill Skarsgård, who brought a truly haunting performance to the screen. Skarsgård himself gives me the heebie-jeebies. Giving him prosthetics and clown makeup can only make him scarier. There are also the kids, who were almost all great actors, and had laugh-out-loud dialogue that worked so well in the world of It, and continued after the movie with many memes, mostly connected to Richie's banter.
Do you want one for me too, Mrs. K?
Yeah, you want to affect the culture in 2016? Putting out some meme-worthy movie moments will do that for you.
Wait, can only virgins see this stuff? Is that why I'm not seeing this shit?
Then just the structure of the film, which of course was a Stephen King adaptation, it works so well for your wide appeal horror flick. The whole movie is pretty much a compilation of suspenseful jump scares that actually make sense in the context of the story. They all build to a third act that is decent, and then you have all of that combined with a group of kids that feel real. It's the perfect recipe for a good enough horror film. I say good enough because I have some notes poking holes in this movie, but for what it's worth, it had everything going for it. It's a lot of its. A world of scared clowns, a good enough movie, plus Stranger Things coming out a year prior. Yeah, 80s nostalgia was popping off too. Everybody was back in the Goonies mood. I don't know who on this production team had this good of karma, but it truly was the perfect storm for it to take over at the box office. And it sure did. The movie ended up earning over $700 million worldwide on just a $35 million budget. This was a box office smash in a year that movies were on the decline. So the film obviously delivered, making its way into conversation around the world, reaffirming another Halloween of scary clowns everywhere. And now we have Pennywise the Dancing Clown memes staying on socials long after release. Everyday culture was affected on all fronts. Still though, I'm not satisfied with the reasons why this movie did what it did. The Great Clown Scare had to be the biggest reason this movie popped off. Yeah, nobody knows this Stephen King guy. And I refuse to believe that New Line Cinema was not involved. Coincidences are one thing, but a world full of clown-scared folks primed and ready for the newest clown scare horror movie, I can't accept it. The only through line I can draw from it to the virality of clown sightings is something much darker than any of this. I'll admit, I can't prove it, but New Line Cinema and others would surely want to hide their connection. This is because the clown incidents ended up causing a few large problems. People dressed as clowns did some things that New Line Cinema would not want to be linked to. In 2016 alone, 2 men were arrested for actually luring kids into the woods. Then several other arrests were made because of clowns wielding knives. Not to mention, schools went on lockdowns multiple times across the US with reports of armed clowns. The Great Clown Scare of 2016, although marginal, was a very real and unsafe problem. If this craze did have any involvement with the It movie, you would not want to have any paper trail that makes that clear. So, this is pure speculation, but it's really up to you. Just a coincidence? Or paid-off spokespeople trying to cover their own tracks? The world may never know. All I know is that the fear from my encounter was more than warranted. As the clown successfully stopped us from getting around him, we all feared if we got any closer, we would see what he's hiding behind his back. Was it an axe? A knife? Tickets to the Cubs-Indians World Series? Didn't matter what it was. We were not going to find out. So we turned our backs and ran straight to the house that had its light on last. Frantically knocking on the door, a dad, who probably thought we were trick-or-treaters, slowly emerged from inside the house. We explained the situation, and this guy just walked straight out towards the clown. We were still on his porch at this point, watching him shoo away this guy like he's a goose in the middle of a road. Now, the clown was probably more scared than we were. As he ran, he dropped his hands, revealing that behind his back, there was nothing. We thanked the man who saved us, and went on our way to Taco John's. Done trick-or-treating for the night. Hey, I still got a good haul though, don't worry. My clown story reflects what the situation really was. The Pennywise type killer clowns were not running rampant, but the fear of that, because of just a few situations, was at large. In 2017, the fear continued, this time with a lot more red balloons floating around. Looking back, it really just was an interesting time to be alive. There's not that many movies that reach the status of cultural juggernaut anymore. It brought people together, both going to the theater and online, all because it landed at the right moment, used the right imagery, and delivered actual quality that won't be soon forgotten in the horror genre. Whether or not the Great Clown Scare of 2016 was influenced by it, pop culture will never be the same, nor will coulrophobia slow down anytime soon. And with that, thank you, Gabby, specifically you, Gabby, and of course to everyone else who watched this one, thank you. What a time I had researching all this. I hope I didn't go too far into the pre-it stuff to turn everybody off, but I honestly thought that was some of the most interesting parts of that because I didn't know how big the craze was, or the Great Clown Scare was, and it was just really interesting to find some of these things out. That year of 2016, I feel like, was bigger for the impact of it than anybody has gave it credit for. Like I said, I kind of smashed those 2 years together. I figured that, like a lot of people, I assume, figured that the clowns were because of it, when it was really not quite the other way around, but it was the clowns that impacted it rather than it impacting the clowns. But yeah, I've said it way too many times in this video. One more thing I do want to do, Fresh Out the Film shout out real fast. That's me and my sister's podcast. We get out of the movie theater, go straight to the car, turn our mics on immediately, and it is a great time. I think our next episode's coming out in just a few days. It's Twilight. So if you want to see me absolutely rip on Twilight, and hopefully my sister try to come to the defense, then please go ahead and check that out. Spotify only. But yeah, I think we're done here. So, deuces.